You know, when I think about the mindset of internal audit and compliance professionals and kind of the way of thinking around traditional data analytics and this new way of thinking around AI, I call it SQL thinking. Interestingly, so as auditors, and we're all comfortable with Excel and maybe even SQL sometimes, you're always looking for that primary key of that join, whether that's a social security number or an ID or a bank number or something to join two fields, right? That's SQL way of thinking. We need to start changing how we think. That's an old way of thinking now. With agentic AI, there is no join. There's just documents and transactions blending together in an LLM. There doesn't have to be a primary key. It's extracting intelligence in context without having that key. And it's very difficult for old school guys like me to think about. But I sometimes catch myself, and I think I even said it in my presentation, of you have to index. The word index is going to die. The word index is going away. That is not a generative AI topic. It's context. It's putting it into a LLM, and specifically a RAG, retrieval augmented generation type model. Now, you're still going to need SQL to do transaction testing of the old rules-based systems, but you're going to be so far enhanced with LLM and RAG model thinking that's going to change in the next, but in the next 1 to 2 years, your IT is going to be banging on your door saying, look, what model, what LLM can we build for you to help you do your job better and more efficiently? Well, for the traditional internal auditor who's been doing internal audits for the past 10, 15, or 20 years, here's my advice. First, take a prompt engineering course. Understand what prompt engineering is and how to ask the agents, the bots, the proper way and the proper context for a question. It really matters in terms of how you get the responses out. Now, interestingly, I mentioned it in my presentation today. Please take your IT professional to lunch, specifically that man or woman who's in charge of your AI initiative. Because nowadays, if you're a company over $10 million, you probably have someone in IT who's charged with AI. Get to know them. Get to know what systems they're using. Are they on OpenAI? Are they using Google Cloud Platform? Are they on AWS? Are they on Azure? Understand that and say, hey, can you help me do my job better? Let me look for ways to use AI and the technology that the company's invested in to help improve audit. Odds are that they will help you because they need to justify what they're doing to help the business. So I would encourage that dialogue. And when it comes to selecting projects for AI, do not select projects just for the sake of AI. Still stay true to your risk-based assessment, your enterprise risk assessment, and focus on solutions using AI to where the highest risks or where your enterprise risks are either taking a lot of time or taking a lot of resources to get insight into. That's a great use case because that's what matters to the CFO or the general counsel or the CEO. Focus on your risk assessment. Don't do AI for the sake of AI. There's a concept called Parkinson's Law, which states that work expands to fill the productivity void. And it's true, and I encourage those listening, just Google what Parkinson's Law means. When the typewriter was invented, when the computer was invented to replace the typewriter, think about all those people that had typewriting jobs with letters, and then they moved to a PC and how productivity increased, and now everybody's on computers, and think about the world output has, GDP has increased. We're at that kind of same inflection point with agentic AI. And yes, there's going to be some pain points, but if you're really good at typing, well, you're on a computer now and you're going to be able to do a lot more. Data is ever expanding and risks are ever expanding. To do it the old way, manual way, isn't going to keep up with the risks and pace of business. So we need to be agentic in our thinking. Now, we talk about human in the loop, and specifically experts in the loop. It's very important that AI is not replacing human decision making. It is doing the data gathering, the repeatable tasks, the grunt work per se, to help present and aggregate the information so that the human can then make a decision. Agents do 4 things. They can recommend, they can aggregate. Now they can take action with a human decision, or the fourth one, which is the riskiest, is actually make the decision automatically. But that's only under certain limited controlled risks things. And you as an internal audit or compliance professional need to think about, what is the agent going to do? It's relatively safe to make a recommendation to the human or suggest insights to the human. It might even be safe for them to take a certain action. But to make a human decision, that's where that's where you really need to apply more scrutiny. But it is, it is the future. It has been such an honor and a privilege to be invited to this conference. I've been so impressed with the turnout, a very big audience. The production was top notch, and the dialogue and the quality of the speakers were just very impressive. So I'm very grateful to Gabrielle and the team and the IMAI group. So thank you guys very much for having me, and I hope to see you next year.